Hi there folks, welcome to another clip here on my YouTube channel. It's been quite a while since the last clip. Sorry for that, simply due to something like being busy and vacations in Spain. Okay, this time let's speak about the US dollar versus the Canadian, so the Loonie. It's something like a so-called update because I spoke about this currency pair quite some time. And right now it's maybe interesting because the price of oil, so the two major oil contracts like Brent and WTI are moving quite heavy at the moment we are speaking here. Friday, 15 CET, quite close to the weekend. So let's have a look at that chart technical part. And before we start having a look at that one, just like to remind you to leave some thumbs up for this clip as well. Very much appreciated. On top of that, if you simply click the red button to be a member of this channel. Thank you very much. And now the chart technical part. Have a look at the US dollar Canadian. You see a daily picture, and just a reason just picked out this kind of a currency pair because maybe it's a kind of a good time, a good day to speak about the Loonie here, just because in case you have a look at the Brent crude oil and the WTI crude oil charts, light sweet crude oil chart, you'll see that these two most important oil contracts are diving quite heavy. And so this kind of a Friday is a typical picture for the Loonie, so the US dollar versus the Canadian, to climb back up again. So just because of the reason, the more the prices of oil are diving, the more the US dollar CAD will be moving up the road and back up to maybe old levels we've seen here in the chart picture. So again, 1 year chart picture, you see a combination, a typical Fibonacci analysis combination. You see the low here is at 120.06 and see the high is on 129.49. These two levels combined for a Fibonacci analysis, you will be seeing that typical Fibonacci retracements like these ones here, the 76.4, 61.8, 38.2 and 23.6 are just been built by the platform. And you see that the price of US dollar CAD moved back up here. And just the reason I simply added a red line here, a red horizontal line, just to give you guys a view about a couple of possible setups where this kind of a US dollar CAD could move to. Just this one here is a high around that 128 marker, and I just took that horizontal line just to move it into this kind of horizon we see here. We see the descending trend line from these two bullish days here, and we see an ascending trend line from the last lows just combined, and you see that kind of an area this kind of a US dollar CAD move could dive into, just with the help of some black arrows, just to show you that this 28 marker here is the red line. Of course, it's not only the way up the road, and the other way around could be a retest of this kind of a 61.8 level, which we see here. So this as ascending trend line here just crosses the 61.8. So this would be something like more sell-off at the crude oil prices, been building a little bit more pressure up the road in direction of this 128 marker. And the more oil prices get something like a relief and yeah, just backing up in direction of the 80 price, we will see US dollar CAD moving down in direction of this 126 and 125 area again. So just saying, of course, you have to watch out in combination with this relative strength index here. You see that kind of a relative strength index, the RSI here. We are on a daily basis. So the time right now we are speaking, it's Friday, it's approximately 3 o'clock CET, and you got something like a 71.2 RSI marker. So that's slightly overbought on the daily basis. That could easily be moving up to 72 to 75 just to see these old highs we see here. This is something where you could simply hide out there somewhere and wait and have patience to step into that trade, or do something like 2 or 3 step short building when the US dollar CAD is moving in direction of the 128 marker. You could simply start at 127.50s, adding something at 128 and adding the third position possibly at 128.50. Just saying, So it should be something like playing that kind with not a high LF, and of course being kind of wise and not too greedy to build up too much weight out there at the currency markets. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of other fundamentals right now. All right, folks, just a couple of fundamentals and let's say an explanation why the Loonie right now and why speaking about some kind of, let's say, assessments, how to build that kind or think about this kind of setups. It's just a reason that US dollar versus Canadian is a typical oil play, or let's say quite some oil play. And if you just add another currency pair like the euro versus the NOK, for example, that's another oil play. Besides that kind of currency movements, we see that from the Norges Bank right now. But simply, if you have the possibility, try to just check a 1 year or a 2 year chart from the US dollar versus the Canadian. Besides that, do the same if you like with the euro versus the NOK, and just place a Brent crude chart over that, and just place a WTI chart over the Loonie, for example, and you will be seeing that this kind of say asset class from the commodities, so the crude oil price is kind of the same move like you see that one with the US dollar Canadian. So the more the price of oil is spiking, the more the price of US dollar Canadian is diving. So we saw that direction of 120s over the US dollar Canadian lately. And if you can simply have a look at this kind of a time as well, go back into the year 2020 and you see a couple of extreme highs of US dollar CAD. In the same time we saw the WTI lows, or even going below the price of zero. So just giving you something like a heads up. This is something like a setup for you, possibly have a look at that one. Just check the chart technical part here as well. Again, if you like to get it again, something like the 128 marker for some short setups, and something like the 125, 124.50s for a real long setup. We saw the last 1 or 2 weeks, especially quite some heavy move around that CPI data lately from the October CPI data from the US. You saw just a huge bumper in direction 126. So that 126 is quite some time right now. It looks like a little bit of a neutral zone, and everything which is something like overbought, which you say now in direction 127, 127.50s, could be something like a short setup for a first entry test to the short side. Again, just saying, there's nothing like a glass bowl somewhere here, and as you know, it's nothing like rocket science, as I always tell you that one. Just try to adapt to this kind of market condition and try to put the first short test in direction 127.50 to 128 possibly, and do the same for a long scenario, again in direction of the 125 to 124.50s. All right, I wish you a happy weekend, and hopefully you will have some prosperous trades the week to come. Today it was a small witching day, so numbers are moving around quite heavily in some asset classes. So possibly this is something maybe to stay aside so far and have a look at this in the later evening, or to start that at the very first possibilities at Sunday night into the Monday. Happy weekend, and until next time. Bye.